Chapter 31. This is the end. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When people get old, their brains don't work well. Qin Ye suddenly sighed. What do you mean? The old man in black asked. I can see through your cultivation, don't you feel strange? Qin Ye asked. The old man in black frowned slightly. Qin Ye saw through his cultivation level at a glance, which really surprised him, but he was confident that he could win Qin Ye, so he didn't ask any more questions. What do you want to say? The old man in black was not in a hurry. He had plenty of time and people couldn't run away in front of him. He had already sensed that there was no other strong person in the entire Qingfeng city. With his strength, he was invincible in the entire Qingfeng city. I can see through your cultivation, and I won't run away. Aren't you curious? Qin Ye sighed and said. Jia, what's so curious about this? You just know that even if you run, you can't escape my grasp, so you just wait here to die. Jia, the old man in black, laughed. It seems you are very narcissistic. Qin Ye shook his head and laughed. The old man in black was not thinking well, let alone staying. Don't assimilate the people of Qingfeng sect. I am confident in my strength, said the old man in black. It's a pity that your strength may not be able to save your life. Qin Ye said. Ha! The old man in black laughed loudly. It's ridiculous that you can take my life. I have already investigated and there is no one in Qingfeng city who is more powerful than me. Can you kill me just by yourself? After saying that, the old man in black began to explode his momentum, and suddenly the black energy surged into the sky, breaking through the room and reaching the sky. The old man in black jumped lightly and looked at Qin Ye from the sky. A kid who doesn't know how high the sky is, thinks that he has accidentally broken through the innateness, so he really thinks that he is invincible. I can crush you with just my momentum. After saying that, the old man in black rushed toward Qin Ye's face with black energy. The black energy enveloped Qin Ye's whole body, and the old man in black became even more proud. He said smugly, this black energy, I am not something that ordinary people can resist. It can turn people into a puddle of black water in just one breath. If you hand over the treasure now, I will let you go. Otherwise, I will make your life worse than death, that the old man in black threatened. Children's trick. Qin Ye snapped his fingers, and the black energy that enveloped him was immediately dissipated. The old man in black was a little surprised when he saw Qin Ye dispelling the black energy so easily. I didn't expect you to be quite capable. Boy, I still need an attendant. As long as you hand over the treasure, I will spare you a life. Life? Qin Ye was speechless looking at the old man in black. The old man in black seemed to be unable to see the situation clearly. He was so narcissistic that he seemed to be able to kill him at any time. At his age, this is the first time he has seen such a narcissistic person. Seeing that Qin Ye was silent, the old man in black thought that Qin Ye was thinking about gains and losses, so he urged, how are you thinking about it, kid? Not everyone has this opportunity to be my attendant. Qin Ye, thank you so much for your whole family. If the head of this sect doesn't do anything, I come to you and become a servant. Is it because you are mentally ill or am I? I would rather have a chicken head than a phoenix tail. Work for someone else, or be your own boss. I believe that many people will choose to be a boss. Those who do not choose to be a boss are because they do not have the strength. However, he, Qin Ye, happened to be the boss, and now he is working for you. He is really mentally ill. Boy, I don't have so much time to wait for you. You have to think clearly. What the second young master wants is your body, and only I can save you. The old man in black took a fancy to Qin Ye's strength. After all, his strength in the innate realm was also very good. With a little training, he could become a big help to him. However, what he didn't know was that his wooing was a huge insult to Qin Ye. Qin Ye classified him into the 18th level of hell. Would you like me to be your attendant? Qin Ye raised the corners of his mouth, revealing a smile. Are you worthy? You little beast, I will kill you today. The old man in black immediately became angry, shouted loudly, clapped his palm, and a dark palm print shrouded Qin Ye. In the palm print, there was a faint black mist, as if there was a giant beast roaring inside. Qin Ye looked at the palm print that covered him, with no expression on his face. The old man's strength was indeed terrifying. Even the blood-killing elder would not be able to take such a palm, let alone the 4th level of innate realm. Little beast, let's see how I deal with you. That when the old man in black saw that Qin Ye didn't hide, he thought that Qin Ye was afraid and couldn't react, so he became even more proud. With one palm strike, even if he was a strong man in the innate realm, he would definitely die. However, what surprised the old man in black was that when the palm print was about to fall on Qin Ye, the palm print suddenly stopped, as if time had stopped, as if it was stopped by something. Huh? What's going on? That the old man in black was suddenly confused. His palm prints were stagnant in the air, which was obviously an abnormality. You kid, how did you do it? The old man in black panicked a little. He was not a fool. He soon realized that the only one who could do all this was the kid in front of him, but he kept watching him, and his hands were all numb. If it didn't move, how could it be stopped? Aren't you going to take my life? Come on. Qin Ye said lightly, with a mocking smile on his face. The old man in black was furious when he saw Qin Ye's appearance. How dare this kid despise him like this? He was simply looking for death. Little beast, since you are looking for death, I will fulfill your wish. The old man in black could no longer bear it. His figure flashed and disappeared from the spot. When he appeared again, he was already beside Qin Ye. Qin Ye was also a little surprised by the speed of the old man in black. Although his speed was a little slow in Qin Ye's eyes, he had surpassed many people. Little beast, go to hell, that the old man in black slapped out with a palm. Black air filled the air, and the palm print was unpredictable, and he was about to smash Qin Ye to pieces in an instant. That's it. Well, the game should be over. Qin Ye said lightly. His body suddenly disappeared in front of the old man in black, and then appeared behind him, with a long sword in his hand, and stabbed the old man in black with a sword. As soon as Qin Ye disappeared, the old man in black realized that something was wrong, and immediately turned around, and at the same time, his hands condensed into claws, trying to catch Qin Ye. Puff, that the sound of the sword piercing the flesh came, and Qin Ye stabbed the old man in black with a sword, and bright red blood splashed up. You. The old man in black widened his eyes in astonishment. He was unwilling to lose like this. He wanted to fight back and wanted to slap Qin Ye away, but it was too late. Qin Ye pierced his heart with a sword, then injected spiritual power into the tip of the sword, and pulled it out suddenly. Bright red blood spurted out. The old man in black widened his eyes and fell straight to the ground, his eyes full of unwillingness and regret. He never thought that he, a master of the 8th level of innate realm, would be killed by a young boy. How could this happen, that the old man in black died with his eyes open? He couldn't figure out why he would be defeated by Qin Ye. This was impossible. Chapter 32, The Second Young Master Dies. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The old man in black died just like that, and his death was a bit aggrieved. He had been in Qinzhou for so many years, but he was stabbed to death by a young man. If this were to be spread out, it would be a joke. After killing the old man in black, Qin Ye looked at the city lord's mansion, where there was another person waiting for him. The movement in Cultivation had already alarmed many people, but the time from the appearance to the disappearance of the movement was too short, and many people did not know what happened inside. And only a few people who knew the inside story knew what happened tonight. I'm afraid it's more bad than good. Many people speculated that Strongest Sect would be gone after tonight. Since the second son took action, he must have sent the strongest subordinates. A personal guard was in the Xiantian realm. It can be imagined that the one who took action must also be a Xiantian realm strongman, and definitely stronger than the two people on the stage during the day. With such a big commotion in the city lord's mansion naturally knew it at the first time, and the entire city lord's mansion was under martial law. It must have succeeded. The second son, who was waiting for news, laughed when he heard the noise disappear. Really? Qin Ye appeared in the second son's room, holding the body of the old man in black in his hand. How did you appear here? that the second son's face became extremely ugly. When he saw Qin Ye holding the body of the old man in black in his hand, his face suddenly became terrified. You actually killed Mr. Mo. This Mr. Mo was the old man in black he sent. This Mr. Mo was a strong man in the 8th level of the innate realm, but he failed in his mission and died. The second son was not a fool. The one who could kill Mr. Mo was definitely not someone who had just advanced to the innate realm. At least a strong man in the 9th level of the innate realm could have this strength, and now Qin Ye appeared here, obviously coming to the door. A strong man in the 9th level of the innate realm came to the door. How could the second son not be afraid? Although the second son was born in the Marquis's mansion, his talent was not very good. He relied on resources to pile up to the 3rd level of the innate realm. With his strength, he couldn't even beat Wan Chen, let alone Qin Ye who could kill Mr. Mo. Qin Ye threw Mo Lao's body in front of the second son and said calmly, "How do you think I should deal with you? You want to kill me?" The second son's calm tone was trembling. "What do you think? Qin Ye, do you know who I am?" The second son asked. "The second son of Yangling Marquis." Qin Ye replied. "Since you know I am the second son of Yangling Marquis, how dare you kill me? If you kill me, my father will definitely avenge me. You have to think clearly." After a pause, the second son continued, "But if you let me go, I can be friends with you, and what happened tonight will be treated as nothing." Qin Ye's mouth corners rose. This second son is still a bit smart and knows to use Yangling Marquis to pressure himself. But even if he can really turn hostility into friendship, Qin Ye will not choose to let him go. What a pity. Qin Ye shook his head. What a pity. Asked the second son. Since you have provoked me, how can you leave peacefully? You will still die tonight. Qin Ye said in a calm tone, as if killing the second son of Yangling Marquis was a very common thing for him. Qin Ye had already made it clear that it was impossible to kill him, and the second son immediately panicked and shouted loudly, "Come quickly, there is an assassin." "Don't bother, people outside can't hear the movement here at all." Qin Ye had already sealed the entire room, and people outside couldn't hear the movement in the room at all. The second son immediately panicked. Being able to seal the entire space, Qin Ye's strength might be more terrifying than he imagined. No wonder he was not afraid of Yangling Marquis Mansion. "Qin Ye, you can't kill me. If you kill me, my father will definitely avenge me. As long as you let me go, you can have whatever you want, money, beauty, skills, or magic weapons and elixirs, all will be given to you." The second son hurriedly begged for mercy. Now he just wanted to leave here alive. As for treasures and beauties, he had long forgotten them. "You can't afford what I want. Well, it's time for you to get going." Qin Ye said lightly. The second son looked horrified and rushed to the door. The next day, the Lord of Qingfeng City received a report from his spy that Qin Ye and his party had left Qingfeng City and returned to the sect. With such a big commotion last night, he naturally received the news. Now Qin Ye and the other two are safe and sound, which means that the people sent by the second son last night failed. The Lord of Qingfeng City was very surprised at the strength of the Qingfeng sect. Even the people sent by the second son failed. This strength is so terrifying. Suddenly, the Lord of Qingfeng City remembered something and asked the housekeeper, "Has the second son got up?" The housekeeper replied, "Not yet." The Lord of Qingfeng City nodded slightly, then wait a little longer. The mission failed. It is impossible that there is no movement here. Suddenly, a scream came from the backyard. No, something happened. The Lord of Qingfeng City suddenly realized something and hurried to the courtyard where the second son lived. What happened? The Lord of Qingfeng City arrived at the courtyard and grabbed a maid who served the second young master and asked hurriedly. "Lord of the city, there is a dead person inside." The maid said with a horrified look. The Lord of Qingfeng City let go of the maid and rushed in first. He saw that there were already many people inside, all of whom were the guards brought by the second young master, and there were two bodies lying on the ground, one of which was the second young master. What's going on? Why did the second young master die here? The Lord of Qingfeng City shouted angrily. How should he explain to Yangling Marquis that the second son of Yangling Marquis died in his own city lord's mansion? Not to mention that the position of the city lord's mansion is in jeopardy. I'm afraid that all the family members will die. For a small city lord like him, killing him is killing him. How can those big figures in the capital blame Yangling Marquis? A servant sent by the city lord's mansion said tremblingly, Lord, an assassin broke into the young master's room last night and assassinated him. The second son died. Asshole, how dare someone come to the city lord's mansion to assassinate? It's really bold, don't you find it? That the face of Qingfeng's city lord was full of anger. How should he explain to Yangling Marquis now? The guards brought by the second son also shook their heads. They were guarding the door last night and did not hear any movement in the room. Immediately block Qingfeng City and catch the murderer in the whole city. Even if Qingfeng City is turned upside down, the murderer must be arrested and brought to justice. Qingfeng City Lord immediately ordered. City Lord, the murder of the second son may be related to Kulai Xian last night. The housekeeper reminded in a low voice. The city lord of Qingfeng narrowed his eyes slightly. In fact, the moment he knew that the second son was killed, he knew who the murderer was. However, he did not point it out because he could not afford to offend the Qingfeng sect. He was able to kill the second son without alerting anyone under the protection of many guards, which showed how terrifying his strength was. With the strength of his city lord's mansion, how could he catch him? So he might as well pretend to be stupid. Chapter 33 The Strength of Yangling Ho. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this time, Qin Ye and his party had returned to Qingfeng sect, and in the past 2 days, Qingfeng sect was quiet and nothing happened. Those who swept the floor, those who helped the kitchen, the 10th elder Yuan Ming was not locked up, but was sweeping the floor in the front yard with the deacon. The 10th elder felt aggrieved, thinking that he also held a high position in the blood killing. But here he could only do odd jobs, and the deacon had no respect for him now. Unlike before when he saw himself in the blood-killing headquarters and was trembling with fear, he thought about running away, but he knew he couldn't. The man named Gui Hai Yida is very powerful. It is basically impossible to escape from under his eyes. What's more, his current strength is still banned and there is no way to escape. Therefore, he could only sweep the floor here peacefully. As soon as the three of them returned to Qingfeng sect, Qin Ye asked Wan Chen to go back and rest first. This time Wan Chen fought with the other two Xiantian realms and gained a lot. He believed that he would break through again soon. Along the way, Wu Xuaner was worried. After Wan Chen left, Wu Xuaner said with a worried expression, "Brother, you killed the second son of Yangling Marquis this time. I'm afraid Yangling Marquis won't let it go. Junior sister, if Qingfeng sect wants to rise, it must gain a reputation, and Marquis Yangling is the best stepping stone." Qin Ye replied with a smile. "But, senior brother, the strength of Yanglinghow Mansion." Wu Xuaner still wanted to speak, but was interrupted by Qin Ye's hand. He only heard Qin Ye say, "Junior sister, don't worry. No matter how strong the Yangling Marquis Mansion is, senior brother will have his own way to deal with it. Junior sister, you should go back and rest early." When Wu Xuaner saw that Qin Ye was so steadfast in his vow and it didn't look like he was lying to her, he stopped trying to persuade her. "Come and see me." Qin Ye sent a message to the 10 elders who were sweeping the floor in the courtyard. The 10 elders who heard the message quickly put down their brooms and walked towards the main hall. "How much do you know about Marquis Yangling?" Qin Ye asked straight to the point when he saw him. The 10th elder looked at Qin Ye strangely. He didn't know how Qin sect master became interested in Marquis Yangling after a trip, but he didn't ask. He knew his position very well and wanted to live. What did Qin Ye ask? He just answers whatever. Yanglinghow is one of the 4 great marquises of the Qin dynasty. Because of his outstanding military exploits, he was named Yanglinghow by the current king of Qin 20 years ago. His fiefdom is in Qingzhou. Qingfeng City and the 2 surrounding cities are his fiefdom. Where is his strength? Qin Ye asked again. I don't know the specific strength, but I heard the leader occasionally talk that Yanglinghow should have the strength of a grandmaster. In addition, he also has a Qinzhou garrison of 300,000. It is precisely because of these 300,000 garrison that ordinary sects dare not plunder them. Feng, even if we kill each other, we don't dare to be too active, the 10th elder said sternly. Qin Ye frowned slightly. He didn't expect that Yangling Hao was actually a grandmaster. Is a grandmaster so worthless now? There is not even a single innate in Qinfeng City, but there is a grandmaster in Qinzhou. As expected, only by going out can you understand how insignificant you are. It is not advisable to sit in a well and look at the sky. Let me ask you, if Yangling Hao's son is killed, what do you think he will do? Qin Ye was silent for a while and then asked. The 10th elder was not a fool either. Hearing Qin Ye's question, he didn't understand anything and suddenly said in surprise, Sect Master Qin, did you kill the son of Marquis Yangling? Qin Ye didn't hide anything, and Feng Qinyan said calmly, that's right. In this sect ranking competition, Yangling Hao's second son came, provoked me, and was killed by me. Ah! Something big has happened. The 10th elder said with a pale face, Sect Master, you have caused a big trouble. Yangling Hao is a famous protector of shortcomings. If you kill his second son, Yangling Hao's character will definitely lead to disaster. The army is coming, and the Qinfeng sect is on horseback. Wouldn't King Qin blame you for mobilizing the army privately? Qin Ye asked. With his status, as long as he is not rebelling, the king of Qin will be displeased at most and will never punish him. I believe that it won't be long before Yangling Hao's army comes. When the 10 elders said this, a look of horror appeared on his face. Seeing how awesome they are at killing each other, their reputation is not small in Qinzhou, but that is secretly. If they face a large army, let alone the killers who kill with blood, even an elder like him will most likely be defeated. Over the years, the Qin dynasty has been cultivating a large army, many of which are warriors. With the strength of the 6th level of innate strength of the 10th elder, he could easily break out of the siege when facing thousands of warriors, but if he faced an army of hundreds of thousands of warriors, he really had no confidence at all. What's more, it's not like there are no Xiantian realm warriors in the Qinzhou army. It seems that I have really underestimated the Yangling Marquis and the Qin dynasty. If a Yangling Marquis has such strength, then the entire Qin dynasty will be affected. The so-called sect supremacy is actually just a joke, what really matters is strength. A powerful kingdom can kill sects, and a powerful sect can control the kingdom. Strength is everything. Ding! Congratulations to the host for successfully completing the mission, winning first in the sect ranking competition, and being rewarded with 10 blind boxes. Ding! Because the host has successfully completed the task of winning first in the sect ranking competition, the host is given an additional reward, the best Immortal-level true sword. Immortal-level? Qin Ye asked, are there immortals on this continent? Ding! The host is not strong enough. You will know when the host is strong enough. The system replied, weapons on the True Immortal Continent have long been divided into 4 levels, heaven, earth, black and yellow, and further divided into 4 grades, top grade, middle grade and low grade. What many people don't know is that there is an immortal grade above the heaven grade, and this level is not accessible to ordinary people at all. I'm afraid only the truly peak forces on the True Immortal Continent will have such records, and the top grade is naturally the best among the immortal grade. With an immortal grade weapon, even a physical warrior can easily kill a grandmaster in seconds. The system is conscientious today, and it can even reward immortal grade weapons. Love it, love it. The Zhenwu sword is naturally kept by Qin Ye for his own use, and others may not be able to use it. Even if Qin Ye uses it himself, he may be able to drain the spiritual power in his body once he uses it. After the innate breakthrough to the Grandmaster, the true Qi in the body will be converted into spiritual power, and the whole person will be reborn at this time. Ding, host, do you want to open the blind box? Qin Ye touched his chin. With a powerful enemy at hand, he might be able to draw out something good to increase the strength of the Qinfeng sect. System, open all. Host, wait a moment. Ding, congratulations to the host for opening a blind box and getting an ordinary stone. That the first blind box opened an ordinary stone. Qin Ye picked up the stone and studied it for a long time. It was really an ordinary stone. Did he not wash his hands? He was affected by the bad luck of the second young master, so he opened such an outrageous thing. Qin Ye went to wash his hands immediately without saying anything. He must not be so unlucky again. Chapter 34 Immortal-level Sect Formation. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. System, continue to open the blind box. After washing his hands, Qin Ye communicated with the system and continued to open the blind box. In his heart, he kept chanting Umitba, Wuliang Tianzuan, please don't open garbage again. Ding, congratulations to the host for opening a blind box and getting a ball of air, that way and ma, bad luck. Could it be that his good luck has run out? He opened 2 blind boxes and didn't get anything good, especially the second blind box couldn't get anything good, so he just admitted that he wanted to get a whole air. Is this different from an empty box? Is it an insult to my IQ? System, continue to open. Qin Ye said with a dark face. I don't believe it. I can't get good things today. Ding, congratulations to the host for opening a blind box and getting a fairy-level sect defense formation. It exploded. It really exploded. What Qin Ye lacks most now is the sect defense formation. Although he is not afraid of Yangling Ho, it is also a troublesome thing that the other party sends people to assassinate or harass him at any time. However, with the sect defense formation, it is different. The other party can't even get in. Even if he is stronger than him, he has no way to deal with Qin Ye. Those big sects have their own defense formations. Once they are invaded or attacked, they will activate the defense formation. Small sects like Qingfeng sect naturally have no defense formation, not to mention that they can't afford the defense formation. Even if they have a defense formation, they are afraid that they can't use it, because the use of the defense formation requires a lot of resources to support it, and the resources of the small sect are not enough for the sect to consume, so where can they get the resources to support the defense formation? There are 9 levels of formations on the True Immortal Continent, with the lowest level at level 1 and the highest level at level 9, and above level 9 is the Immortal-level formation. So far, there is no record of Immortal-level formations on the True Immortal Continent. Of course, even if they have appeared, there is no record in ancient books. System, deploy the Immortal-level defense formation in Qingfeng sect. Qin Ye did not hesitate at all and immediately asked the system to deploy the Immortal-level defense formation. Ding, host, wait a moment. Ding, host, the Immortal-level defense formation has been deployed. After the system's prompt sound ended, Qin Ye's mind had some more knowledge and operation methods about the Immortal-level defense formation. Even the Immortals can't break it. After understanding the Immortal-level defense formation, Qin Ye still took a breath. Once this defense formation is activated, even the Immortals can't break it, which shows its power. However, what really surprised Qin Ye was that the system now gave 2 immortal levels in a row, which means that there may be immortals in this world. Even if there are no immortals on the continent now, there have been immortals in the past. Maybe one day he can become an immortal. Start the formation. Qin Ye immediately activated the defense formation, and a huge pressure spread to the surroundings, squeezing the surrounding air. A layer of pale yellow light shield enveloped Qingfeng Mountain and protected it. If you look at Qingfeng Mountain from the outside, you will find that the whole mountain has been wrapped in white fog, and you can't see the outline of the mountain. At a glance, it is hazy. The materials provided by the system for this fairy-level defense formation are enough to be used for tens of thousands of years, so Qin Ye is not panicked at all. I am afraid that he has become a fairy in these tens of thousands of years. So Qin Ye decided to keep this fairy-level defense formation open. As long as this formation exists, he can be safe forever. System, continue to open the blind box for me. Ding, congratulations to the host for opening a blind box and getting a comic book. Looking at the comic book in his hand, Qin Ye's face was so dark that ink could be squeezed out. Does I need to see this ghost thing? He wants a woman, and he can come to Qingfeng City at will. Does he need to see the comic book? System, can't you afford to play? Open this ghost thing for me. System, continue to open, Qin Ye said with a dark face, throwing the comic book aside casually. I don't believe it. Nothing good can be found. Ding, congratulations to the host for opening a blind box and getting. Ding, congratulations to the host for opening a blind box and getting. Ding, congratulations to the host for opening a blind box and getting. The remaining 6 blind boxes were opened by Qin Ye. One of them was an empty box, and the other 2 were also strange. One was a woman's embroidered shoes, and it was the common kind. If it was given to Xuaner, she would probably dislike it. Another one was a butcher knife. It was also a very ordinary butcher knife, but it was still very sharp. Qin Ye was going to throw this butcher knife into the kitchen. Maybe old man Wu would need it one day. After all, Qin Sect also needs to eat meat. The other 3 blind boxes did get good things. One was a low-level character summoning card, and the other was a martial arts building. It has not been released in the system yet. There are quite a few things in the other blind box, but there are not many truly top-quality ones. They are all weapons and elixirs. Compared with fairy-level weapons, these so-called earth-level weapons are simply garbage. In general, there are still many treasures in the 10 blind boxes, and there are not many useless ones. With so many things, Qin Ye was a little confused and didn't know where to put them. It would be great if he had a storage ring, but unfortunately he didn't have one, and he hadn't heard of anyone with a storage ring in Qinfeng City. Qin Ye first asked the system to put these things in his room, and then put them in the Gongfa hall after the Gongfa building was released. In fact, the system has a storage function, but these things are too rubbish and take up space in the system, although the space occupied is very small. Perhaps this is a different pattern. Qin Ye could understand the feelings of those local tycoons at this time. They would buy the most expensive things and would not even look at the cheap ones. Although Qin Ye looked down on these things, they were still very useful to Qin Sect. If they were taken to the capital, it would cause a sensation. Qin Ye waited until late at night to find an open space before releasing the Gongfa building. The next day, everyone found that there was an ancient high-rise building in the sect, with 3 big characters on the door of the high-rise building, Gongfa building. How did this high-rise building appear? It was clearly not there yesterday. Blood-killing leader Lu Jing held a broom in his hand and stopped sweeping the floor. He stared at the Gongfa building in front of him in amazement. He was sweeping the floor here yesterday, and today there was a high-rise building here. Even if thousands of craftsmen were mobilized to start work at the same time, it would be impossible to build it overnight. Even if it could be built, it would be impossible for there to be no movement at all. It's so mysterious. He rubbed his eyes and looked carefully. He didn't have hallucinations. Hiss, what is this method? That even as surprised as him was the 10th elder Yuan Ming. He had been here for so many days, and he was very sure that there was no such building in Qinfeng Sect before. He couldn't believe that a building appeared overnight. He had never heard of it. This must be a method that only immortals have. Perhaps only immortals can create a building overnight. The legend of immortals has always been circulating in the True Immortal Continent, but no one has ever seen an immortal, and it is not known whether the stories about immortals that have been circulated were made up by later generations. In the Qin dynasty, it has been circulated that the first Qin king of Qin had met an immortal. Many forces had asked the Qin royal family for confirmation, but the Qin royal family neither admitted nor denied it, and it has been a mystery until now. But later, many voices appeared, believing that this was deliberately promoted by the Qin royal family. The Qin royal family has always had the ambition to unify the world. Deliberately promoting the saying of immortals is just to increase the royal family's foundation. After all, the Qin royal family has the lowest origin among the kingdoms, and was just a horse slave, which has been criticized by many people. Chapter 35 Gongfa Building. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Although there are legends of immortals in the Qin dynasty, they are too vague and no one can confirm them. The Gongfa building appeared overnight. Not only were they surprised, but even old man Wu was also surprised. He was a master of the 9th level and had seen a lot. Such means, let alone a master, might not be able to do it even if he was a great master. What kind of heaven-shaking means can do all this? Old man Wu looked at the Gongfa building, and a gleam of light flashed in his turbid eyes. The Qin sect really had a big secret. Perhaps the poison could really be solved here. However, he did not immediately confront Qin Ye, but waited. Qin Ye did not immediately explain the origin of the Gongfa building to everyone. The more mysterious it was, the more awe-inspiring it was. He just sent a message to Wu Xuaner and Wan Chen, asking them to go to the Gongfa building to find the Gongfa. The Gongfa building has its own Gongfa, and there are all kinds of Gongfa in it. If people go in, they want to get Gongfa. It all depends on chance. Wu Xuaner received the message and rushed over without any hesitation. When she saw the Gongfa building, she took a breath and thought that her senior brother was becoming more and more mysterious. She couldn't help but wonder if the inheritance that her senior brother mentioned was really the inheritance of immortals. Could it be that the Gongfa collected in this building are all Gongfa collected by immortals? Thinking of this, Wu Xuaner's heart beat uncontrollably. If this is true, then any Gongfa in it would probably be a priceless treasure. Miss Wu, is this building the work of sect master Qin? Blood-killing leader Lu Jing had been familiar with Wu Xuaner during these days in Qin sect, so when Wu Xuaner came, he asked her. This is naturally the work of my senior brother. Wu Xuaner said with pride. Then is there really a Gongfa here? Blood-killing leader Lu Jing asked. Of course there is. Wu Xuaner replied. I'll go in first. Wu Xuaner didn't say much, walked directly to the door of the Gongfa building, and then stepped in directly. A flash of white light flashed, and Wu Xuaner disappeared at the entrance of the Gongfa building. When Wu Xuaner entered, she found herself in an empty space. There were no bookshelves, no books, and no secret manuals. Wu Xuaner frowned slightly. How could this Gongfa building be empty? Senior brother couldn't lie to her, and there was no reason to lie to her. Did she overlook something? At this time, she suddenly looked up and saw that the sky above her head was densely packed with colorful light spots. Each light spot was different. Some light spots were large and round, some light spots were small, and some light spots had different shapes. Some were similar to swords, some were similar to knives, and there were other various shapes of weapons. Some light spots were quite active, jumping up and down or moving left and right, while some were floating up and down, as if they were absorbing spiritual energy, and some were like sleeping, stagnating in the air, motionless. Wu Xuaner was not stupid. She thought of something in an instant. Her beautiful eyes widened and she thought in disbelief that these light spots were Gongfa, and each light spot was a Gongfa. She didn't dare to think about it anymore. If this was true, how many skills would there be? It's really a collection of immortals. Only immortals have such means. Wu Xuaner was more convinced that Qin Ye had inherited the immortals, and only this could explain all this. Then how can I get this skill? Wu Xuaner suddenly got into trouble. This was her first time coming in. Although she guessed that these colorful light spots were skills, she didn't know how to get them. She tried to fly up and grab the nearest blue light spot, but the blue light spot that was originally stationary suddenly disappeared in front of her eyes, and when it appeared again, it had moved to another place, leaving her empty-handed. She tried several times in a row, but she didn't get a skill, which made her a little anxious. Why don't you go back and ask my senior brother? Since I can't get the skills for the time being, I might as well go back and ask my senior brother. Once I know the method, it won't be too late to come back to get the skills. Anyway, the skills are here, and they won't run away. As soon as Wu Xuaner entered the skills building, Qin Ye already knew. This Gongfa building is a fairy weapon. No matter who comes in, Qin Ye will know it at the first time, and he can also control who can enter and who can't. This is the news he learned after he recognized the Gongfa building as his master. Seeing that Wu Xuaner had not received the Gongfa for a long time, he knew that Wu Xuaner had not found a way to obtain the Gongfa, so he sent a voice message to Wu Xuaner, "Junior sister, if you want to get the Gongfa here, you have to comprehend it here. You are choosing the Gongfa, and the Gongfa is also choosing you. Junior sister, just show your talent here, and don't do anything else." Qin Ye reminded. Got it, senior brother. Although Wu Xuaner was surprised that Qin Ye's voice could be transmitted to the Gongfa building, getting the Gongfa was the main thing at this time, so she didn't think much about it, sat cross-legged, and began to comprehend. As she comprehended, some light spots began to shake up and down, as if they intentionally chose Xuaner. Xuaner felt that her mind seemed to feel the activity of some light spots, as if these light spots were spiritual, which made her feel a little strange. There was no time to think about it, she still had to comprehend it now. A total of 12 light spots seemed to be jumping for joy and rushing towards Xuaner, but suddenly a scarlet light spot burst out with tremendous momentum. The other light spots seemed to be afraid of this scarlet light spot. They just protested a few times and then quieted down. In the end, this crimson light spot chose Xuaner, turned into a red light and entered Xuaner's mind. It seems that Xuaner has good talent and luck, and has learned a good technique. Qin Ye, who saw all this in his eyes, nodded slightly, judging from the explosive momentum. This technique is probably at least heaven level, and maybe even immortal level. Xuaner is currently receiving the inheritance of the martial arts. Qin Ye can just use a spiritual thought to pay attention to this side. As for them, they can do whatever the people outside the Gongfa building tell them to do. Wan Chen has gained a lot in this sect competition and is making breakthroughs, so he hasn't come to the Kung Fu building yet. I wonder if Marquis Yangling has received the news. Qin Ye, who was sitting on the sect leader's seat in the main hall, had a strange light shining in his eyes. Qingzhou, Yanglinghao Mansion. Marquis Yangling had just come out of his concubine's room when he saw the housekeeper from the front yard crawling in. As he walked, he cried, Master Marquis, something happened, something happened. Marquis Yangling's good mood was suddenly disturbed by the butler. He slapped the butler away from the front yard and said, Maid, am I not here? How dare you curse me? The housekeeper in the front yard rolled up and cried loudly, Master Marquis, something happened to the second young master. Marquis Yangling was slightly stunned and said, Didn't I send him to Qingfeng City? With Mr. Mo following me, what could happen? That a small place like Qingfeng City didn't even have an innate realm, and he had sent so many innate realm guards, and there were masters like Mr. Mo following him. Naturally, Marquis Yangling didn't believe that anything could go wrong. Chapter 36 The Army is Coming. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Qingfeng City is his fiefdom, which means he is the master here. It is impossible for his son to get into trouble in his territory. Moreover, in Qingzhou, few forces dare not give him face if he shows his title of Yangling Marquis. What happened? Yangling Marquis asked in a deep voice. The housekeeper in the front yard knelt on the ground and cried, The second son was assassinated in the Qingfeng City Lord's mansion. What? Yangling Marquis was furious. Although he did not believe that someone really dared to attack his son, if it was not true, the housekeeper in front of him would not dare to risk his life to talk nonsense before coming. There is only one fact, that is, his son was really killed. How brave. Someone actually dared to attack his own son. Didn't he know that he was the king of Qingzhou? Who is the murderer? Yangling Marquis roared. This is the letter sent back by the guards around the second son. The housekeeper in the front yard took out a letter and handed it to Yangling Marquis respectfully. Yangling Ho took the letter and looked at the contents of the letter. His face became darker and darker. This Qingfeng sect, a sect that is not even of the 9th rank, dared to attack my son. Who gave him the courage? The contents of the envelope recorded in detail what happened when the second son went to Qingfeng City. Although they had no direct evidence, they all knew that the murderer must be Qingfeng sect. After a long time, Yangling Ho finally calmed down. He sent Mo-Lao, a master of the 8th level of innate realm, to protect him. The letter said that Mo-Lao also died in the room. The existence that can kill Mo-Lao must not be an ordinary person. Could it be that a master was involved? However, there are only a few masters in Qingzhou. Almost all of them are in seclusion and it is impossible for them to go to Qingfeng City. Besides, they can't lower their status to assassinate his useless son. Yangling Ho doesn't believe that Qingfeng sect has the strength to kill Mo-Lao. There must be someone or a force behind it. This person or force must be coming for him. No matter who this person or force is, this Marquis will not let them go. Yangling Ho gritted his teeth and thought, what matters now is to destroy the Qingfeng sect first, and I believe the forces behind him will naturally jump out. the furious Yangling Marquis immediately mobilized 10,000 troops to leave the barracks and headed straight for Qingfeng City. The various forces in Qingzhou were shocked when they learned that Yangling Marquis personally mobilized 10,000 troops to leave. After all, Yangling Marquis' every move would cause a shock in Qingzhou. The officials of Qingzhou were also a little confused. They did not receive orders from the king's capital, which meant that Yangling Marquis privately mobilized troops to leave, which was a taboo. At the least, the Marquis title would be revoked, and at the worst, the whole family would be executed. However, they also knew that Yangling Marquis was one of the 4 marquises of the Qin dynasty, with a high position and power. The king would not necessarily deprive him of his marquisate, but a reprimand was inevitable. The various forces soon discovered that Yangling Marquis personally led the army to his fiefdom, Qingfeng City, which made the various forces feel strange. They mobilized so many troops to go to such a remote town, something must have happened. Soon they found out that the second son of Yangling Marquis was assassinated in Qingfeng City. This surprised them. Who is so powerful that he dared to assassinate the second son of Yangling Marquis? Others don't know, but don't they know? This person is not only the Yangling Marquis of the kingdom, but also a master. With 300,000 troops in his hands, and being a master himself, other forces, except for the top sects in Qingzhou, would not take the initiative to provoke Yangling Marquis even if they are not afraid of him. There is no impenetrable wall in the world. Soon there was news that the murderer was a small and unknown sect, Qingfeng Sect. Although there is no evidence to prove that the murderer is Qingfeng Sect, they are as sure as Yangling Marquis that the murderer is Qingfeng Sect. This is an open matter. There is no one else except Qingfeng Sect. No wonder Yangling Marquis was so angry that he led the army to conquer Qingfeng City, City Lord's mansion. The Lord of Qingfeng City was so upset that he was walking back and forth in the courtyard. He couldn't even eat. The death of the second son in the City Lord's mansion made him unable to explain to Yangling Marquis. With Yangling Marquis' domineering character, he would most likely die. He learned from the guards left by the second son that Yangling Marquis was on his way and brought 10,000 troops with him. Now he faced 2 choices. One was to bet whether Yangling Marquis would kill him, and the other was to run as far as he could. After all, he didn't kill the second son, and Yangling Marquis wouldn't chase him. However, if Yangling Marquis chased him, he might not be able to hide. It would take at least 2 days for Yangling Marquis' army to come to Qingfeng City. If he couldn't think of any other way, he could only wait to die. The housekeeper saw that the Lord of Qingfeng City was anxious about the second son. While he was helpless, he was also worried. After all, he and the Lord of Qingfeng City shared the same fate. If Yangling Marquis didn't let the Lord of Qingfeng City go, then he wouldn't let him go either. The two were trying to think of how to save themselves. Suddenly, the housekeeper had an idea and said to the Lord of Qingfeng City, "Lord, we all overlooked one thing." "What did you overlook?" The Lord of Qingfeng City frowned slightly. "Lord, we all overlooked that sect master Qin," the housekeeper said in a low voice. Qingfeng Sect Qin Ye, the Lord of Qingfeng City looked at the housekeeper with strange eyes. If Qin Ye hadn't killed the second son, there wouldn't be so many things. Now, he is worried that Yangling Ho will come to Qingfeng City to kill him as a sacrifice. After all, his son died in his own city lord's mansion. What's the point of talking about Qin Ye now? In fact, it is obvious that the second son sent someone to kill the Qin sect master, and then was killed by the Qin sect master. The housekeeper said. "Humph. How could I not know this? But the person died in my city lord's mansion after all." The Lord of Qingfeng City said with an ugly face, and greeted the second son's 18 generations of ancestors in his heart. "But who is right and who is wrong? Is it still useful now? Will Yangling Ho listen to you saying that it was his son's fault? Let alone the fact that death is the greatest. If you really dare to say this to Yangling Ho, Qingfeng City Lord dares to guarantee that he will be slapped to death by Yangling Ho as soon as he says it." Qingfeng City has been peaceful for so many years, and when something happened, it was a matter of life and death. The excited Qingfeng City Lord had to take a rope to solve it himself. "City Lord, I found out another thing. The other person who died in the second son's room, the guards all called him Qi Mo Lao, and he was sent by Yangling Ho to protect the second son. The person who died in the second son's room must be of high status, so the housekeeper started from the guards around the second son, and it took a lot of twists and turns to find out his identity. Qinfeng City Lord sneered, "What's the point of finding out his identity when he is dead?" Yangling Ho sent 1 or 2 people to protect his son. What's wrong with that? But this person is in the 8th level of Xiantian, this is wrong. What? Innate 8th level, Qinfeng City Lord took a breath. He is not even in the Xiantian realm now, and the 8th level of Xiantian is a strong man even in the Great Qin dynasty, and they are all powerful figures. Normally, he doesn't even have the qualifications to meet them. Chapter 37: A Glimmer of Hope. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Lord of Qinfeng City was indeed shocked. An innate 8th level strongman died just like that. Even under the command of Yangling Marquis, there were probably not many such people. The one who attacked Cultivation was this old Mo, and Sect Master Qin was able to kill old Mo in a short time, and then came to the city lord's mansion to kill the second son without anyone noticing. Although there is no evidence that he killed the second son, it is obvious that Sect Master Qin is such a smart person, he would not be unaware of it. The housekeeper said slowly. You mean Sect Master Qin has his own support, so he dared to kill the second son. The Lord of Qinfeng City was not stupid, and he understood what the housekeeper wanted to say. That's right. Once Yangling Marquis arrives, no one knows what Yangling Marquis will do in the grief of losing his son. While Yangling Marquis' army has not arrived yet, the Lord of the city might as well visit Sect Master Qin first, maybe there is a glimmer of hope. The eyes of the Lord of Qinfeng City lit up, as if he really saw a glimmer of hope. The sudden rise of Qinfeng Sect was full of mystery. It was said that Qin Ye had obtained some treasure. That day, Qin Ye also said in public that he had obtained some elixirs, but the Lord of Qinfeng City always felt that Qin Ye's adventure was not that simple. Qin Ye's breakthrough to the Xiantian realm had already surprised him, but now someone in Qinfeng Sect could kill a Xiantian 8th layer realm expert. What does this mean? It means that there must be a strong person behind Qinfeng Sect. The Lord of Qinfeng City did not think that the person who killed the Xiantian 8th layer realm was Qin Ye, but that there must be a stronger person behind Qin Ye. So, the Lord of Qinfeng City secretly took the housekeeper and 2 guards to leave Qinfeng City and headed straight for Qinfeng Sect. The housekeeper had been here last time, so they soon came to the outside of Qinfeng Mountain. Where is Qinfeng Mountain? The Lord of Qinfeng City looked at the white fog in front of him, stared at it with wide eyes, but still couldn't see what was going on inside. The housekeeper was also stunned. It was not like this last time. The road should not be wrong, but I don't know why there was white fog in Qinfeng Mountain. City Lord, there must be Qinfeng Mountain ahead, but there was no white fog when we came here last time. The housekeeper said very confidently. The housekeeper is right, there was indeed no white fog when we came here last time. One of the guards brought this time had come with the housekeeper last time, and he immediately testified to the housekeeper. Qinfeng City Lord looked at it for a long time, and a flash of inspiration came to him, and he said in surprise, this must be a formation. What kind of formation can hide the entire Qinfeng Mountain? He was more certain that there was a master in the Qinfeng Sect. Let's go in. After the 4 people went in, they walked a long way and saw Qinfeng Mountain as expected. But when they walked inside, they circled back again. They walked in another direction and returned to the original starting point. This is a defensive formation. If we can't break the formation, we can't get in at all. I'm afraid that even the 8th grade sects don't have such strength to support such a large formation. The Qinfeng City Lord exclaimed. City Lord, how do we get in then? The housekeeper was sweating anxiously, and they didn't have much time. The Lord of Qinfeng City waved his hand. It's okay. We just entered the formation, and the person who controls this formation must have known it. He took a deep breath and shouted loudly towards Qinfeng Mountain. The Lord of Qinfeng City comes to pay his respects to Master Qin. The Lord of Qinfeng City comes to pay his respects to Master Qin. The Lord of Qinfeng City shouted twice in a row. As soon as the voice fell, the white fog in front of him dissipated in an instant, and Qin Feng Mountain appeared in front of the four people. Let's go up the mountain. The Lord of Qin Feng City waved his hand and took the lead, as the Lord of Qin Feng City said, Qin Ye knew as soon as they entered the formation. He was a little curious about what the Lord of Qin Feng City came here for at this time. After all, he only brought these few people, and it was definitely not to capture him, so he was a little hesitant about whether to let them in. When Qin Ye heard the Lord of Qin Feng City's call, he decided to let them in. Coming here at this time might be related to Yangling Ho. He knew nothing about what was happening outside, so it was just right to let the Lord of Qin Feng City in, and perhaps he could get some information from him. They soon arrived at the gate of Qin Feng Sect. When they saw the dilapidated mountain gate, the Lord of Qin Feng City was speechless. Last time, the housekeeper came back and told him about this matter, and suggested that he could send some craftsmen to help repair the mountain gate of Qin Feng Sect. At that time, he took it to heart, but later the second son was killed. He was so busy that he didn't think about it, and the housekeeper naturally wouldn't mention it again. When they walked in, they saw a middle-aged man sweeping the ground meticulously with a broom in his hand. Even if the ground was very clean, he still swept it very seriously. The housekeeper whispered in the ear of the city lord, and the city lord couldn't help but look at him seriously for a few times. He was shocked in his heart. This person turned out to be a strong man in the innate realm. Senior, the Lord of Qin Feng City immediately stepped forward to greet him. He thought that this blood-killing helmsman was the younger generation or disciple of the strong man in Qin Feng Sect. Anyway, he was a strong man in the innate realm, and he would never go wrong to greet him. Lord of Qin Feng City, the blood-killing helmsman looked up at the Lord of Qin Feng City and recognized his identity, then lowered his head and continued to sweep his floor. A small city lord like Qin Feng City was not worthy of his attention. The reason why he knew him was that he saw him and remembered him when he came to Qin Feng City this time. Bring them to the hall to see me. Qin Ye's voice at this time reached the ears of the blood-killing helmsman. Yes, Sect Master. The blood-killing helmsman saluted in the direction of the hall. Since the appearance of the Gongfa building, several people in Qin Feng Sect believed that this was not something that could be done by human power, and that there might be a powerful person behind Qin Feng Sect, which gradually changed their mentality. In fact, after the Gongfa building appeared, he tried to enter the Gongfa building to take a look, but he was bounced back as soon as he stepped over. He was not the only one, and others tried but could not get in either. However, they clearly saw Xuaner go in, and in the end it was the 10th elder who said that this was a ban, and only with consent could they enter. They guessed together that there must be advanced Gongfa in this Gongfa building, otherwise it would be impossible to have a ban to protect it. The blood-killing helmsman was still young, and he didn't want to sweep the floor here for the rest of his life. Even if he went out now, he would most likely be killed by blood-killing as a traitor. Now he was the safest in Qin Feng Sect. When the Lord of Qin Feng City saw that this Xiantian realm powerhouse was so respectful to Qin Ye, he raised Qin Ye's status again in his heart. Perhaps Qin Ye was the disciple of that powerhouse, and only in this way could everything be explained. The blood-killing captain brought the Qin Feng City Lord and 4 others to the sect hall, only to see Qin Ye sitting high on the sect master's seat waiting for them. Sect master, the people are here. The blood-killing captain saluted respectfully. Seeing that the blood-killing captain was so respectful to Qin Ye, the Qin Feng City Lord also saluted and said, the Qin Feng City Lord greets the sect master Qin. After all, his status is different now. The Qin Feng Sect has so many powerful people, and their status is far higher than his. Moreover, he came here to seek shelter this time, so naturally he has to be more humble. Chapter 38 Subsidiary Cities. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Looking at the extremely respectful Lord of Qin Feng City, Qin Ye nodded slightly. Now his status is different, and the Lord of Qin Feng City is no longer equal to him. However, he has a good impression of the Lord of Qin Feng City, and he did not put on any airs, and asked directly about his purpose. Lord of Qin Feng City came to my Qin Feng Sect. I think there is something important. Master Qin, the night before you left, the second son was killed in the Lord's mansion. The Lord of Qin Feng City looked directly at Qin Ye and said slowly. Is the Lord of Qingfeng City here to capture me? Qin Ye did not deny or admit it, but directly asked the Lord of Qingfeng City about his purpose. Master Qin, don't misunderstand, the second son acted domineeringly and deserved to die. It's just that his father, Marquis Yangling, has learned the news and personally led an army of 10,000 from Qinzhou. If nothing goes wrong, he will arrive in Qingfeng City the day after tomorrow morning. It seems that Marquis Yangling still loves his son very much. Qin Ye did not feel strange about Marquis Yangling personally leading a large army to come. On the contrary, Qin Ye felt strange about the behavior of the Lord of Qingfeng City. The Lord of Qingfeng City should be under the jurisdiction of Yangling Marquis, but now he came to me to reveal information about Yangling Marquis. What good would it do for him? Or did he have a grudge against Yangling Marquis? I am curious, did you come to Qingfeng Sect to tell me this? Sect Master Qin, the second son died in the city lord's mansion. No matter how he died, Yangling Marquis will not let me go, so, the Lord of Qingfeng City gritted his teeth, finally knelt down on his knees, and said, "Please save my life, Master Qin." It turned out that he came for help. He thought about it personally. If he was Yangling Marquis, even if he didn't kill the Lord of Qingfeng City, he would definitely dismiss him. However, after all, he came from the modern era and had different ideas. People here would not be reasonable. My son died in your house, so your family will be buried with him. This is what many people think. The Lord of Qingfeng City sensed the danger, so he came to me for help. Qin Ye had a good impression of the Lord of Qingfeng City. Since he had come to ask for help and he had implicated him, he could not just stand by and watch him die. After a little consideration, Qin Ye agreed, "Move your people to the back of Qingfeng Mountain, and wait until the matter is over before going down the mountain." "Thank you, Sect Master," the Lord of Qingfeng City said excitedly. "If we can survive this time, Qingfeng City is willing to serve Qingfeng Sect as its master. This means that the whole city will submit to Qingfeng Sect. If Qingfeng Sect wins this time, Qingfeng Sect will prove its strength." Qingfeng City's submission to Qingfeng Sect is the final decision made by the Lord of Qingfeng City after careful consideration on the way here. In addition, he could not stay with Yangling Marquis any longer, so submitting to Qingfeng Sect was also a good choice. Qin Ye's expression was slightly moved. Accepting Qingfeng City would only benefit Qingfeng Sect and not harm it. As long as Yangling Marquis was defeated, I believe that the Great Qin Dynasty would never trouble itself because of a small Qingfeng City. If the Great Qin Dynasty really refuses to give in, Qin Ye will continue. He has the confidence now. Ding, congratulations to the host for triggering the subsidiary task. Qingfeng City, as the nearest city of Qingfeng Sect, is crucial to the development of Qingfeng Sect where the host is. Will the host accept Qingfeng City as a subsidiary city of the sect? Choice 1, accept the task, you will get some cultivation resources. Choice 2, reject the task, get the favor of King Qin. Qin Ye was a little surprised. He didn't expect to trigger the system task. The favor of King Qin is of no use to Qin Ye. It is better to get cultivation resources. Without hesitation, Qin Ye chose to accept the task. Okay. I will accept Qingfeng City as a subsidiary city of Qingfeng Sect. Qin Ye made the final decision. Thank you, Sect Master. The Lord of Qingfeng City was overjoyed. Yangling Ho was unreliable. Fortunately, he has now embraced the thigh of Qingfeng Sect. You go back now and evacuate the people who need protection to the back mountain of Qingfeng Sect. Yes, Sect Master. The Lord of Qingfeng City did not hesitate and immediately went back to evacuate his family and his confidants outside the city in the name of protection. In addition, he also took all the members of the Wan family away, and then turned around and went directly to Qingfeng Sect. By the time the guards brought by the second son reacted, everyone had already evacuated. They did not dare to go to Qingfeng Sect, and hurriedly sent a pigeon to send a letter to Yangling Marquis. More than 100 kilometers away from Qingfeng City, Yangling Ho was setting up camp here. He soon saw the secret letter and said angrily, "The bastard Qingfeng City Lord actually took his family to Qingfeng Sect. This Marquis wants to kill his whole family." One of his generals clasped his fists and said, my lord, this Qinfeng city lord must have guessed that you want to punish him, so he defected to Qinfeng sect. Yangling Ho said angrily, does he think that he can survive by defecting to Qinfeng sect? My son died in his family, shouldn't he pay with his life? That his son's life is so noble, Qinfeng city lord is just a lowly life. His son is dead, why is Qinfeng city lord still alive? Let the army eat quickly and try to get to Qinfeng city tomorrow morning. Yangling Ho ordered. Yes, my lord. The generals under his command responded. In the capital, there was also unrest. Civil officials and officials who were at odds with Yangling Marquis kept impeaching him. Just because he mobilized the army privately was enough to make him suffer. Even if he couldn't be impeached, it would be good to disgust him. However, to their surprise, the king of Qin suddenly announced a retreat these 2 days, and the memorials were suppressed when they were sent to the palace. The king should be waiting for the result. A small sect dares to provoke Yangling Ho. There must be an unknown force behind it. The king wants this force to emerge. The news came out from the palace soon. In fact, if the king of Qin really wanted to stop Yangling Ho from mobilizing troops, as long as he issued a royal order to let him withdraw his troops, Yangling Ho would never dare to disobey the royal order, and Qin Ye naturally didn't know these. When the enemy comes, the general will stop it. When the water comes, the earth will cover it. No matter how many people come, they will be swept away at that time. Ding, congratulations to the host. Xuaner has comprehended the fairy-level technique Ice Emperor Ju, and the host has also comprehended the Ice Emperor Ju at the same time. Qin Ye, who was closing his eyes to rest, suddenly heard the system prompt sound in his mind. Qin Ye looked at the introduction of Ice Emperor Ju. This Ice Emperor Ju was created by a female fairy named Ice Fairy in a world called Ice Emperor Realm tens of thousands of years ago. It is very powerful and can be directly cultivated to become a fairy. Qin Ye was really happy for Xuaner. This technique took the initiative to choose Xuaner, which seemed to be very suitable for her. With this Immortal-level technique and sufficient cultivation resources, I believe Xuaner's cultivation speed will soon catch up. Although no one said it, Qin Ye knew that Xuaner was under great pressure. After all, she was the elder, but her cultivation was not as good as Wan Chen, who had just entered the door. In the technique building, Xuaner, who had comprehended the technique, suddenly opened her eyes full of disbelief. It turned out to be an immortal-level technique. Doesn't it mean that I can become an immortal one day? Chapter 39 Xuaner's 5th level of innateness. You are listening at MaleProtagonist. Before this, she only knew that the heaven-level skills were the top ones, but now she knew that there was an immortal level above the heaven-level skills. What's even more frightening is that this immortal-level technique is not from this world, but was created by a female fairy named Ice Emperor Realm. In other words, there is more than just your own world in this universe. She wanted to tell Qin Ye about this immediately, but suddenly she thought that her senior brother had built this kung fu building, and she had known it for a long time. Looking up at the colorful light spots in the sky, Xuaner was already numb. Although she was not sure that all the techniques here were immortal-level techniques, one thing she was sure of was that there must be immortal-level techniques here. Senior brother, what kind of inheritance did you get? It's too scary. Xuaner stuck out her tongue and thought in surprise. Hey, my realm. Hiss, the 5th level of innateness. Only then did Xuaner realize that she had broken through to the 5th level of Xiantian when she was comprehending the technique, but she didn't react at all. Regarding breaking through to the 5th level of Xiantian, Xuaner said that the immortal level skills were so terrifying, and she was filled with gratitude to her senior brother. If it weren't for her senior brother, she knew that with her qualifications, she would not even be able to enter the Xiantian level in this life. At this time, Xuaner's stomach suddenly growled. It turned out that she was hungry. Suddenly, her face turned red, and she carefully looked around, and then she breathed a sigh of relief when she saw no one. After reluctantly taking a look at the exercises in the sky, Xuaner left the exercise building. She attracted everyone's attention as soon as she appeared. It turned out that except Qin Ye, everyone's eyes were fixed on the Kung Fu building. They all wanted to see what Kung Fu Xuaner had learned there for so long. Innate realm momentum. As soon as Xuaner appeared, her innate aura spread out overwhelmingly. The 5th level of innateness. The 10th Elder Yuan Ming's eyes widened immediately. He even doubted whether his eyes were dim. He clearly remembered that Xuaner's cultivation was only at the 8th level of physical training before entering. How long did it take for her to achieve a breakthrough? Reaching the 5th level of Xiantian, this breakthrough is so astonishing. Even among the people who have been passed down through the ages on the mainland, few can achieve such a breakthrough speed. What's even more frightening is that Xuaner's qualifications are simply average. Even though he can break through so many realms in this way, it shows that Xuaner must have comprehended extremely terrifying skills inside. Is it an earth-level skill? Or is it the heaven level? The 10th Elder couldn't help but stepped forward and asked Xuaner tentatively, "Miss Wu, are you learning heaven-level skills?" "Heaven-level skills," sneer. Xuaner sneered and left without answering. Several people were confused. Could it be that Xuaner had comprehended an earth-level technique? Are earth-level skills so awesome? How come they don't know? Old man Wu, who had been paying attention to this place, looked at Xuaner leaving thoughtfully. At the same time, Yangling Hao's army had arrived at Qingfeng City. The entire Qingfeng City was surrounded. The residents in Qingfeng City had never seen such a huge battle, and they all hid in their homes and shivered. Marquis Yangling personally led 1,000 cavalry into Qingfeng City. He took the lead into the city lord's palace and saw the bodies of the second young master and Mr. Mo. Yangling Hao personally inspected the bodies of the two men and came to the conclusion that they must have died at the hands of the master. He was a little surprised that a strong master would appear in this small Qingfeng City, which surprised him. Could it be that this powerful master really came for him? After all, Qingfeng City is his fiefdom. A powerful master appeared in his fiefdom. If he hadn't come for him, he wouldn't believe it even if he was beaten to death. After resting for a day, Marquis Yangling led the army straight to Qingfeng Sect. The leader of the Iron Sword Sect was the leader of the Iron Sword Sect. It was his bad luck. Yangling Marquis needed someone who was familiar with the Qingfeng Sect to lead the way. Someone suggested the leader of the Iron Sword Sect, so Yangling Marquis sent someone to invite him. It's not an exaggeration to say it's an invitation, but it's actually a kidnapping. Seeing the dozen or so Xiantian realm experts sent by Marquis Yangling, he patted his chest and said he was willing to be the leader. The 10,000-strong army marched toward Qingfeng Sect in a mighty manner. As the lord of Qingfeng City saw, there was no Qingfeng Mountain in front, but a burst of white mist. "Are you sure this is Qingfeng Mountain?" Yangling Hao looked at the grey haze in front of him and asked the leader of the Iron Sword Sect. "The Marquis is not wrong. I have been here several times, so I can't remember it wrong. I just don't know why, but there is white mist in Qingfeng Mountain." The Iron Sword Sect patted his chest and said with confidence, fearing that he would say too late, he was beheaded by Marquis Yangling. "Ha! It's actually a sect formation." After all, Marquis Yangling had seen the world. After taking a closer look, he could see that the white mist was a formation. "Who will break this formation for me?" Yangling Hao asked loudly. "The last general is willing to come and break the formation." A young general walked out from behind. With a sound of driving, the horse flew up and rushed into the white mist, followed by dozens of soldiers. Qingfeng Sect. Qin Ye was playing chess with old man Wu. Qin Ye's chess skills were not good, but not bad either. But what surprised Qin Ye was that old man Wu's chess skills were even worse than him. The two played more than 10 games in the morning. Qin Ye won 8 games and only lost 2 games due to carelessness. "Are you used to old man Wu staying here?" Qin Ye suddenly asked while the two were playing chess and chatting. "Thank you for your concern, master. I'm doing fine." Old man Wu smiled innocently. Qin Ye rolled his eyes at him. "You can pretend. The system has already detected your situation clearly. Today, Qin Ye came here to confront old man Wu." Just after putting down a piece, Qin Ye suddenly looked down the mountain. Just now, the sect's defense formation showed that someone had broken through the formation. He used his mind to detect the situation down the mountain, and the situation down the mountain was clear at a glance. The army of Yangling Ho has arrived at the foot of the mountain, and they are breaking through the formation. Qin Ye said calmly. Yangling Ho is a big shot. Master, you must be careful. We can't afford to offend him. Old Man Wu shouted in horror. Are you afraid of him? Qin Ye raised his eyebrows and did not expose him. How can we ordinary people not be afraid? I heard that Yangling Ho once massacred a city on the border of the Wei dynasty. There were 100,000 people there, and he killed them all, even the old and the young. Old Man Wu wiped the cold sweat from his forehead with his sleeve and said tremblingly. Oh. There is such a thing. Qin Ye raised his eyebrows. Qin Ye couldn't say anything about the war between the two countries, because there was no justice in it. When the Qin dynasty was strong, it invaded the Wei dynasty. When the Wei dynasty was strong, it would invade the Qin dynasty. Neither of them had the strength to destroy the other. The civilians on the border suffered, because both of them had done things like massacres, but Qin Ye, who was a modern person, still couldn't accept the massacres. Soldiers died on horseback, there was nothing to say, but those civilians were so innocent. Did the king of Qin punish the Marquis of Yangling? I'm not sure about this, but I heard that the king of Qin was furious about this and wanted to execute the Marquis of Yangling, but the ministers tried their best to save his life. However, the king of Qin ordered people to whip the Marquis of Yangling 100 times in public to serve as a warning to others. Said Old Man Wu. Chapter 40, Conquering Old Man Wu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Qin Ye also understood. It was obvious that the king of Qin was trying to protect Yangling Marquis. The so-called whipping in court was just a play to stop others from talking nonsense. Old Man Wu, do you think Yangling Marquis can break through the defensive formation? Qin Ye asked casually. Old Man Wu paused for a moment and smiled innocently. I can only cook and make dishes. I don't know anything about big and small formations. The sect leader asked the wrong person. Qin Ye rolled his eyes at him and said, there is a big enemy outside. Do you know why I came to you? This. I don't know. Old Man Wu said hesitantly. From Qin Ye's words, he suspected that Qin Ye seemed to know something. That Yangling Marquis is a master. Do you think he would let you go if he came in with his character? Qin Ye looked at Old Man Wu with a smile on his face. I am just a small figure. How could a big figure like the Marquis care about our life and death? Old Man Wu shook his head and said, he also knew that if Yangling Ho really came in, he would definitely leave no grass behind. Then can you hide? Qin Ye suddenly said. Old Man Wu was stunned, but he still lowered his head and said, I don't know what the sect master means. Is the poison in your body okay? Old Man Wu's face suddenly changed, and the chess piece in his hand fell to the ground with a snap. It was not a terrible thing that Qin Ye could sense that he had cultivation. The real terrible thing was that Qin Ye actually knew that he was poisoned. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. How could he know that he was poisoned? Old Man Wu's face changed continuously, and after a long time, he said, how did the sect master know that I was poisoned? I know much more than you think. Qin Ye did not explain, but smiled and said. For example, who are you? What poison was you poisoned with? How to cure this poison? Do you know the way to cure it? Old Man Wu said excitedly, and the first two sentences were directly filtered out. The poison in his body is very strange. He has been to several kingdoms and found many famous doctors, but he can't completely solve it. Even the best famous doctors can only help him suppress it temporarily. If he continues like this, he will die of poison sooner or later. There will be a way to detoxify, but I need you to agree to two conditions. Qin Ye put forward his own conditions. What conditions? Old Man Wu looked excited. As long as it was not too excessive, he could agree. The poison in his body was about to be suppressed. If he could not find a way to detoxify, he would die. The first condition is that I want you to join Qin Sect and become the elder of Qin Sect. Qin Ye put forward his first condition. He could not help Old Man Wu detoxify without any conditions. Now that Qin Sect is rising, perhaps the enemies it faces will become stronger and stronger. Naturally, it will absorb some martial arts masters to join Qin Sect, and this old man Wu is naturally the best candidate now, and Qin Ye is not afraid that he will regret it. With the system added, he will only become stronger in the future. In the future, let alone the Grandmaster, even if the Grandmaster wants to join Qin Sect, it depends on his mood and willingness. After wandering for so long, having a foothold is also a good choice. This condition, I agree. This condition is not excessive. Old man Wu just thought about it a little and agreed. After all, the poison in his body cannot be cured so easily, so it is natural for Qin Ye to put forward such a condition. Qin Ye nodded and said the second condition, now someone has come to the door. As the elder of the sect, you must know what to do. This is my second condition, bring the head of Yangling Ho here. I know you are poisoned and cannot exert your strength. I can give you the antidote first, and the sect's defense formation, let alone Yangling Ho, even if the Grandmaster attacks for thousands of years, it will definitely not be broken. I hope to see Yangling Ho's head in 2 days. After speaking, Qin Ye's figure slowly disappeared, leaving a very ordinary wooden box on the chessboard. Grandmaster, Old man Wu looked at the disappearing Qin Ye and slowly uttered 2 words, because the system blocked Qin Ye's breath, and other people's divine thoughts could not detect Qin Ye's realm, even old man Wu could not detect Qin Ye's cultivation. However, Qin Ye suddenly showed this hand in front of him, and old man Wu saw Qin Ye's realm in an instant. Everyone thought Qin Ye was at the Xiantian realm, but now he is at the Grandmaster realm, which is too scary. Then, he looked at the wooden box with a sharp gaze. If his guess is correct, the wooden box must contain the antidote to the poison in his body. With trembling hands, he picked up the wooden box, took a deep breath, opened the wooden box, and a pill mist rose. When the pill mist disappeared, a pill the size of a dragon ball was revealed. This pill is white, looks great, and exudes a faint fragrance, which makes people intoxicated. After just one sniff, old man Wu felt a little relieved. This pill must be at least 5 grade. Although old man Wu is not an alchemist, he still has the ability to distinguish pills. Old man Wu took a breath. In the Great Qin dynasty, not to mention the 5th grade pill, even the 6th grade pill rarely appeared. With all his worth, he is not worth a 5th grade pill. Now Qin Ye easily took one out for him, which made old man Wu amazed. Coupled with the incident in the Kung Fu building, old man Wu was even more certain that the Qin sect must have a big secret, a secret that would definitely terrify him. Looking at the fragrant pill, old man Wu's face showed a hint of excitement. He had been looking for a way to detoxify for several years, but he never thought that he would get it so easily today. In his opinion, the 2 conditions proposed by Qin Ye were not difficult for him at all. If it were him, the conditions he proposed would definitely be 10 times or 100 times more difficult than those proposed by Qin Ye, which made him a little embarrassed, and he could only sigh and say, the sect master is really a kind person. The smell of this pill made him feel refreshed. If he took it, he would definitely be able to restore his cultivation. Old man Wu swallowed the pill into his mouth and immediately felt a cool medicinal power spreading in his body, and soon spread all over his body. It really works. I believe I will recover soon. Old man Wu laughed excitedly. Outside Qingfeng Mountain, Yangling Ho sent a young general to lead dozens of soldiers in. After half an hour, the white fog had not disappeared, which meant that the formation had not been broken. The young general and dozens of soldiers who went in did not come out, and there was no sound from inside. My lord, there may be a killing array hidden in this defensive formation. They may be in great danger if they go in. A deputy general said. Send some more people in. Yangling Marquis naturally knew that the young general just now might be in great danger, but in order to destroy Qin sect, the death of a few people was nothing, so he immediately sent another general to lead more than 200 soldiers to break in.